What a sight. There the teams are. The only new cap in this team is Steve Brain, number 2, who's the hooker from Coventry. And the big change, of course, Rendell at number 1, the loose head, and Pearce at number 3. Can England afford to do without Phil Blakewell, the strong man who many thought would be changed over to the loose head with Pearce going on the tight? And the other change, Swift in at number 14 on the Springboks exactly the same as before, and that's a great vote of confidence. They'll be determined not to do what they did against the Argentinians 2 years ago when they won the first test handsomely, only to be defeated 21-12 in the second. Well, I saw them this morning. They're tense, they're not too overconfident, and looking forward, I'm sure, to a tremendous game this afternoon. And the referee, Mr. Urke, says to the Springboks, are you ready? England to kick off. And there is the whistle. Dusty Hare, his usual long kick, and taken there by Donny Gerber, who is in his usual number 13, although he's number 12 on the program. One thought that Donny Gerber would certainly choose to have number 13. He's always seemed to prefer that number. Errol Tobias, first drop out of the game. It's a lovely hanging ball. John Scott there in the van, but Carl du Plessis into the hands of Dusty Hare, and he'll have to hurry. That is Rob Lowe. Furness in his 22, and a lovely kick, but has he got touch? Winterbottom nearly got in the way of Dusty Hare there. Dusty Hare challenged by Rob Lowe, and we're going to have the first line out of the match. Tap back, and Richard Hill under pressure. Chris Rogers trying to charge down his kick there. That's Rudy Fasaki. Springboks on the attack. Gary Pearce playing first test match in South Africa for him. Chris Butcher with the ball in his hands, and well done Skalkberger for South Africa, holding it. Butcher trying to wrest it from him, and the England pack going forward. Will the ball come back? And the referee says that the England side were going forward, the ball would not emerge, and it'll be the England put in.
Well, that was a very good drive by the England forwards, Chick, and I think one of the things that is very apparent is that they are determined to give a better showing than in the first test, and certainly look very motivated.
And the first scrum of the game, and Mr. Urke is going to be certain that the scrumming is correct. The law says they must bind firmly and continuously. Now we've got Hempy's de Toy against Paul Rendell on this side, and a penalty to England.
Well, the referee clearly indicating that Oki Oosthuizen was pulling Gary Pearce down.
So Dusty Hare just outside his own 22. It looks a pretty good kick, but Furness manages to keep in the field of play and catch the ball, although the ball might have been over the line. The law says if you have your feet inside the field of play and catch it, it's still fine. So this will be the first time that Steve Brain, the hooker from Coventry, will be throwing the ball in an international match. There's John Fiddler, Scott Burger next to him, Sonicus behind. Taken by Winterbottom. That is John Horton. There's a good up and under. Who is under it? Serfontein with it now. And a pretty good kick under pressure. Will it find touch? Carl du Plessis following up. But with it is Tony Swift. And a pretty good rolling kick by Swift. Chris Rogers to throw in. Just inside the Springbok half. Tap back to Serfontein. Tobias. And there's the up and under. It's a little too far ahead. Dusty Hare will have plenty of time, but he's outside his 22 and directly into touch. So back they'll come for a line out opposite the place from where Dusty Hare kicked. Springboks on the attack, just outside the England 22-metre area. And they tried the maul round the back there. Oosthuizen going down on it. Tobias working the blind side. Karel du Plessis, he's got Swift to beat. And the desperate tackle by Swift inside. That's Rob Lowe. Stoffberg could score. Tien Stoffberg is over. Stoffberg. A lovely effort by Tien Stoffberg, started by Errol Tobias, giving it to Karel du Plessis, and back inside, and there was the tremendous power of Tien Stoffberg. There he is in the middle of the picture, and Stoffberg bursting over for a try.
Well, just watch this incredible strength, and then inside to Gerrie Sonnekus, always in the right position at the right time, and then just the power of this enormous flank forward and the South African captain. Great try, but tremendous work first by Karel du Plessis, who must be very close to being rated the best wing in the world, and Gerrie Sonnekus so important with his support play, and just the momentary touch in his hands which kept the movement going, and a great try by Tien Stoffberg.
And Karel du Plessis, with his power, I think he felt that he could run through Tony Swift, and he really went almost through him. Swift did get him eventually, but not before Karel du Plessis had plenty of time to get his pass into Gerrie Sonnekus, who was backing up so very well there. Now can Hughes make it 6? No, the score 4-0, a try by Stoffberg after about 6 minutes in the first half. There you have it, South Africa 4, England no score, and it certainly is a tremendous advantage to get that early score.
And now we see it again. Now watch how he straightens Swift just momentarily. Swift couldn't go for him straight away. The tremendous power. And look at Sonnekus, just a lovely little catch, held it for a second, and then 3 men, or 2 men certainly, couldn't stop the big Springbok captain.
And that was certainly his momentum carrying him over the line. And now live play on again. Under it is Gerber from the up and under. Oosthuizen in there. Stoffberg helping. Sonnekus always, but Butcher with it for England. And a tackle there by Rudi Versace. And a penalty against South Africa for a high tackle. The referee indicating immediately a high tackle on Butcher by, I think, combined Rudi Versace and Rob Lowe. The man who seems to be injured there is Avril Williams.
Well, we'll see that again, and now watch, I think it's Rudi Versace who it was, going in very heavily. No, it's yes, Rudi Versace.
So Dusty Hare can reduce the deficit. 4-0 the Springboks lead. Can it be 4-3? It looks a good kick. It's got all the distance, all the legs, all the way, and it's 4 points to 3. So England very quickly reduced that deficit of 4-0 and 4-3 with that penalty by Dusty Hare. Dusty Hare, who's playing in his 25th international match for England. Errol Tobias to kick off for the Springboks. High hanging kick, John Scott taking it, helped by Brain. Butcher trying to get it out, back to scrum half, and Horton from inside his own 22, and scrum half Richard Hill always in the thick of things. That's John Horton there. He's playing in about his 14th game for England. halfway line, just to the left of that line out. And Stoffberg it is, barging forward. Good work by Tony Swift, and picked up there by Winterbottom, the inevitable Winterbottom, always in the thick of things. Good work by England, fine driving play there. Very good work by the forwards and by Tony Swift, the right wing from Swansea. That's Winterbottom. Scrum midway between the Springbok 22 and the halfway line. Serfontein. Dani Gerber. And a good touch by Dani Gerber. Takes play to near the 25. That's John Scott. Steve Brain to throw in just inside the Springbok half of the field. Winterbottom with it. Rob Lowe wresting it from him, but the referee says it was not in straight. And the non-offending side decides they would like a scrum. Serfontein, scrum swinging, and that's an awkward kick. Dusty here inside his 22, have to hurry as he's challenged by Avril Williams, and a good kick under pressure indeed by that very experienced player.
Well, a very good kick by Dusty here. He came in for some criticism in that he didn't touch Dani Gerber when Dani Gerber scored his try, and certainly whatever he's done this afternoon has been has all the hallmarks of an experienced international.
Line out midway between the Springbok 22 and the halfway. Rudi Visagie barged out of the way, but Hill to Horton, and a penalty there to the Springboks, and the referee picked that up. As we said, barged in the line out. The referee saw that, and a penalty to the Springboks for that bit of barging on Rudi Visagie. Rudi Visagie, but it's a deep one from Brain, and Hill has it. Horton flicks it there out to Palmer. Under it, Johan Hjörnes, he beats Swift. Good work there, and Hjörnes still running, picking up some help. And Sonicus very quickly in there, helping to get the ball back for the Springboks. But the referee says that ball will not emerge, and he gives a penalty for offside around the fringes of the scrums.
Yes, I think they were offside around the fringes, and also I think pulling Peter Winterbottom certainly, and Steve Brain. I think also it was a double offence there, Chick, that they were going in with the feet. And it's okay if they're on the move, but you cannot stand back and actually tramp people into the ground.
So a penalty just behind the halfway line, and it's a long kick by Hjörnes. A very fine kick indeed. He's taken play right to deep inside the England 22-metre line. A fine kick there by Johan Hjörnes. "13 minutes gone in the first half, and South Africa leading 4 points to 3. Tapped back by Fiddler to Hill. Horton with his left foot. And a pretty good kick by John Horton under a lot of pressure there. Line out on the England 22-metre line. That's Steve Stratham in the background, the touch judge. And a deep one taken there by Rob Lowe. Tackled by Winterbottom. Picked up by Skalkberger. And he has Williams with him. Tobias couldn't quite pick it up, but Visagie has. Visagie, Sonicus is there too. But quickly in was the experienced front row forward, Gary Pearce, who kicked that into touch.
Well, I don't think it's often, Chick, that you see two lock forwards getting involved in the loose play like that. First of all, Skalkberger, who made a very good catch from Rob Lowe's pass.
Line out near the halfway line, tapped back. Serfontein gets an awkward run there and into the hands of Mark Bailey. Bailey, the Cambridge wing three-quarter. Not a bad kick from a narrow angle. Mark Bailey. That's the England 10-meter line. Taken by Versaki, lovely work. Serfontein, Tobias, Gerber. In the line is Kunis. And that's Villet. Villet's got Gerber inside him, and Gerber's got a man to beat. He's going to score. Gerber will score under the post, near the post. Donny Gerber, a lovely movement there. Started off by a fine catch by Rudy Versaki, and good work there by John Villet. Back inside it went to Gerber.
Well, you see, watch for John Villet on the outside centre here. Everybody says he's a link player. There he goes. Beautiful dummy through the outside. Watch the support coming from number 13, Donny Gerber. He's in possession. Then that magnificent jink off the left foot. And the big Springbok going over for a brilliant try.
And an easy kick for Johan Kunis. It's one he'll expect to get. And can he give her the extra 2 points? And he does. Converted by Johan Kunis, and that is South Africa leading by 10 points to 3. A try and a goal with that conversion by Kunis. A try and a goal to South Africa, to a penalty by England, 10 points to 3.
Well, here we see it again. Watch for the magnificent support play from Donny Gerber, passing, and then the Villet actually is pace taking him through the outside gap. Now watch for the jink off the left foot. There it comes. Beautiful running. And with that pace and that power, difficult to stop.
And also with Kunis in the line as a bit of a decoy, it rather helped there. And here, this irrepressible man, Donny Gerber, from his own try line, decided to run the ball and kick it out near the halfway line. So instead of England getting onto the attack with a 22-meter dropout, Donny Gerber has taken play right up to the halfway line, and it'll be Steve Brain to throw in. Serfontein with an awkward ball there. He's got Oki Oosthuizen with him, Hempjes de Toy, but England are driving forward. Lovely work, and the referee says sorry, he should have waited. It was advantage, so it'll be England to put the ball in. The referee hoping to play advantage. He's pretty good on advantages, Monsieur René Orke. And that time he said sorry, he made a mistake, so it is Richard Hill to put the ball in. Springbok 10-meter line. England have it to Horton, but the referee will want it in a second time. Interesting, the referee going around the other side of the scrum to see who is collapsing the scrum the other side. Hill to Horton. There's the up and under. Kunis is under it. Avril Williams behind him. Willie Mark. Did he shout for it? No, he didn't. Yes, he did. A good mark under pressure there by Johan Kunis. Fair catch given, and here he will have a free kick. In the old days, you could charge from a mark, but that law was changed a couple of years ago. There's Kjell Stofberg, and that's John Fiddler who'll get this ball. Scott in the front, Fiddler goes up for it. Springbok a very bad, untidy tap back, and the referee has spotted an infringement in the line out there.
Well, I think the front men in the Springbok line out coming around on the wrong side. They weren't bound to that loose maul, and so they have to stay behind the back feet of the last Springbok in the maul.
A bit of byplay as Hempjes de Toy is changing his pants. Dusty here with his kick. Just behind the 10-meter line, Dusty here. Can he make it 10-6? It's got all the distance. It looks a good kick, but it's to the left of the posts. And Hiernes decides to dot it down for a 22 dropout. Tobias, a good dropout. Taken beautifully there by the England chaps. Butcher, fine work by Chris Butcher. Now England will want possession. And they get it. And Winterbottom, well tackled there. Springboks now will want possession, but they don't get it. Back it goes to Horton. Misses out a man. That's Mark Bailey. Chasing it now. Mark Bailey on the left, but Hiernes gets there first. And the referee has decided that he's going to give a penalty way back there for a Springbok infringement. He waited for advantage, and he decided there was no advantage with the Springboks fringing round in an offside position around that ruck. And here Stoffberg is getting the interpretation for that penalty, but this would be a chance for England to score 3 points. And here's a chance for England to reduce the deficit. 10-3 at the moment. Dusty Hare from just behind the 22, and that's the second kick he's missed, where he's been very close. Certainly had the distance, but he pulled it, and so the score remains 10 points to 3 after 21.5 minutes in the first half. Tobias kicking off, South Africa playing a man short. Rogers off the field, and the Springboks get it. Serfontein kicking over his forwards' heads there. Not a bad kick from a narrow angle, and you can see it's within 5 meters of the halfway line. He found Serfontein, Western Province captain. Now, will England throw in deliberately crooked to force a scrum? If they do, the Springboks will choose a line out with their hooker off the field. Serfontein, Tobias, Roulette. There's the Gary Owen. Under it is Dusty Hare. Mark Bailey as well. Avril Williams up there. Horton, good work by him to Hill. And the referee spotted a knock forward, and they will scrum. Now, who will go into the hooker position? Perhaps Sonicus, one would imagine. Sonicus has gone into the hooking position. Rob Lowe onto the flank. And can the Springboks get this? Sonicus, such a versatile player. One of the few players ever to have played scrum half in a test. And then number 8, 10 years later, at the same venue in Port Elizabeth. And have the Springboks got it? No, the first heel against the head. Butcher, that is, picking it up. Winterbottom with him. Winterbottom has it. Inside to Hill. Hill, and intercepted by Avril Williams. Williams helped by Stoffberg. And in the ruck, the referee says it was a forward pass, and they were scrummed up. South Africa still at a big disadvantage with Rogers off the field.
Well, you saw there just how strong Avril Williams is on his feet. He was cornered by Peter Winterbottom, who's very strong, but Avril Williams staying on his feet extremely well.
So England put in, no, South Africa put in. Man short, Sonicus in the hooking position. And the referee says not in straight, and a free kick to England. Rogers coming back onto the field with his head swathed in bandages. There he is, Chris Rogers, coming back on the field, in South Africa at full strength again. And they sorely needed Chris Rogers. They lost the only tight head of the game while he was off the field. And Dusty Hare putting his side onto the attack. Very fine kick indeed by Dusty Hare. Takes play to within 5 meters of the Springbok line. There's Sonicus, and this is a vital throw-in for South Africa, taken very well by Stoffberg at the back of the line. South Africa driving, very good work. Back to Serfontein, and a fine kick by the little scrum half. That was the first time we've seen the Springboks really driving well. As soon as they were held up, back came the ball, a perfect pass to Sonicus, and he got them away from that danger area near their own line. Looks like Steve Brain needs a little bit of attention. The hooker from Coventry playing his first test.
let's go. 187.
25 minutes gone in this match, and South Africa leading 10 points to 3. Steve Brain it is throwing in there, and a penalty there for a bit of argy-bargy in the line-out, and closing up too quickly in the line-out. That is a free kick. It's not a penalty. There must be that meter between the players, and if they close up before the ball comes in, then it is a free kick. Johan Kjønnes. A lovely kick by Johan Kjønnes. Really using that free kick to great advantage, putting his side onto the attack. As you can see, the next line out is going to be virtually on the England 22-meter line. Visagie, there he is at number 2. Skalkberger at 4, Stoffberg at the back. Roblo back to Visagie, driving play, Roblo with it. Sonekus at Dani Gerber. There's the dummy again. This could be another try. Dani Gerber, nothing will stop him. Dani Gerber, that lovely jink and dummy, and very fine work in the line-out, setting it up, and great play by this wonderful player from the Eastern Province, Dani Gerber.
Well, now we see Dani Gerber again. You see the incredible acceleration, high tackle by Chris Butcher, and nobody able to stop him there. But that try coming from good work by Rudy Visagie, great work by Rob Lowe, Gerry Sonekus there to loosen the ball up. Devan Serfontein reading the situation very well, and another chance for Dani Gerber, his 3rd try in this series.
14 points to 3, South Africa lead, and this kick's about 7 meters in from the touchline. And can Johan Kjønnes add the extra 2 points? It's a good kick, it's a beauty all the way, and that means it's 16 points to 3, and Johan Kjønnes's 2nd conversion, Dani Gerber's 2nd try.
Now we see a snappy pass by Devan Serfontein. Now watch Butcher come across with the high tackle. If he'd gone in low there, he might have just nailed him, but once he'd gone past Butcher, right in the open.
So Dani Gerber will be very pleased with his display so far. 2 tries and 2 magnificent tries. Under it, Rudy Visagie from the kick-in, and coming through very quickly, Paul Rendell, the new front row forward, but the ball out to touch already.
1, 3, 9.
John Scott, number 2 in the line out. Tap back there by Visagie to Tobias. And no mistake by Errol Tobias there with his touch kick. The Springbok 10-meter line just to the left of this line out. Tap back by Fiddler, cleaning up by Scott. Help there by Gary Pearce and Steve Brain. Work by England. Hill to Horton, grubber kick. Covering there is Johan Kjønnes with it now. Good work by Valette covering there. And a lovely kick by Kjønnes, bounces the ball just inside the field of play and takes play nearly up to the England 22-meter line.
Well, these kicks down the right-hand touchline are certainly giving South Africa a lot of confidence. It's interesting that they've all been right-footed kicks, Chick, and I don't know whether there's a slight breeze across the field, but they've all come off. And good work by John Valette there in cleaning up.
There's Skalkberger in the line out. South Africa will want this. They're in a very good attacking position. A deep one, and Oki Oosthuizen takes it. Serfontein, Tobias. Back to Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe looking for the opening. Looking back inside. Hempy's de Toy was there. Oki Oosthuizen. Gerber with a little chip being chased by Avril Williams. Mark Bailey is there, and good covering there by the Cambridge three-quarter, Mark Bailey, running the ball into touch. Not much else he could do as the Springboks surge onto the attack. Gerber in full cry.
And great work by Oki Oosthuizen, twice Chick loosening that ball from those loose rucks. And certainly the Springbok forwards, he came around the back of the line out, took the pressure off Devan Serfontein. And once again, when it went into a tightened situation, it was Oki Oosthuizen.
Here it is in slow-mo again. Oki Oosthuizen with it. There's Donny Gerber, and a little chip into the box. Avril Williams with him. That's Mark Bailey, number 11, covering well for England. No option but to run it into touch. Rogers in a deep one there, but the referee not happy with the supporting in the line-out. Penalty to England. Dusty Hare. Looks a pretty good touch. Lovely kick indeed by Dusty Hare. His 25th international. "31 and a half minutes gone in the first half. South Africa leading 16 points to 3. Serfontein to Tobias. Tobias looking for the opening. Hands off Winterbottom, but tackled by Butcher. And will England get this ruck? In they go with tremendous sense of purpose. And Hill, yes, he has it. Horton into the gap and chased by Mark Bailey. Avril Williams is there too. And Kunis heads the ball ahead. That's not a knock-on. You can head it and it's not a knock-on. And England will want this ball. Good work by Avril Williams. But that's 5 meters from the Springbok line. And England will want to get it. Gerber. And the referee says that it was a South African infringement. No advantage. He was waiting for advantage. So that back they'll come and scrum in that position, which is about 12 meters from the Springbok line. Richard Hill for England. Channel 1 ball made to channel 2 by Butcher. Horton out to Bailey. That's Hugh Davis. There was a man over there. Hugh Davis not, and Gerber not offside. It was general play. Gerber booting it forward again. But getting there first is Tony Swift, the man from Swansea. Good work as he dodged the man overrunning him. Carl Dubuis, he hasn't found touch. Villette into Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe with Scott Berger doing good work. As Springbok must tighten it up now. As Serfontein wants it, he gets it. A long one to Tobias. Tobias, the Gary Owen. Under it is going to be Tony Swift. And very difficult for him. Mark Bailey cleaning up. That's inside the England 22. Swarming in, the Springbok forwards will want to get it. Serfontein, man over here, overlap. Tobias, and out it goes to Gerber. Will he score again? I think he will. Gerber going for the corner. Donny Gerber's third try. And the England defence, spread eagle. Donny Gerber running to centre it. That was clever. He went down with the ball raised on his chest. He got up and he centred it under the post. Clever work there by Donny Gerber. And that is Donny Gerber's third try. But fine work indeed by the Springboks. It was that quick heel from the loose scrum that did it. And the Springboks had a man over and turning up on the right wing position, Donny Gerber, and outwitting the defence, going down on his shoulder with the ball still raised, not pressed down, then running in, scoring underneath the post. And there is the second round of applause. Kunis with a very simple conversion from in front of the post, and it's there. So Springboks take a 22-3 lead. That's Johan Kunis, his third conversion.
And watch out, the good play by Errol Tobias, going through on the outside. Now watch the referee, watch for the referee. He's right on the spot, there he is, and he watches very carefully. The Donny Gerber definitely didn't ground the ball. You can see the referee got himself in a perfect situation, and the third try for Donny Gerber.
So South Africa leading by 3 goals and a try to 1 penalty goal. Here it is from the other angle. Tobias opening up the gap, and there's Gerber. Nothing is going to stop him. There's the cover defence. Good work by little Richard Hill. You see the ball was never grounded. Referee in a very good position indeed. And there is the rather disconsolate England defence coming back to watch Gerber scoring his third try of the match. There's the score. South Africa 3 goals and 1 try to a solitary penalty by England as they kick off again. And good driving work by England as Gary Pearce with the ball booted out and aligned. Gary Pearce, number 3, the last man up. Chris Rogers with his little cap on, looking a bit the worse for wear. Rudi Visagie getting possession. Long pass that was. Tobias. A good kick over his forwards' heads, getting South Africa away from that danger area near their own try line. That's Errol Tobias.
A change in tactics here by John Scott. First short line out of the game.
Brain to throw in. There's Butcher and Scott. Visagie and Skalkberger. Scott tapping it back. Hill well tackled there by Sofberg. Mark Bailey, number 11, running it out for England. That's Mark Bailey, the Cambridge captain. That's the halfway line to the right there. So it's in the Springbok territory. That's John Fiddler, big policeman from Gloucester. Visagie has it. Oosthuizen, Serfontein, Tobias. Tobias into the hands of Mark Bailey. What will he do now? He's got Rogers challenging him. There's the up and under. Hughes says leave it to me, but it is Tobias back into his 22. And the referee has said there was offside, and he says did they want a penalty or a scrum? They've decided to have a scrum from the point from where the ball was kicked rather than a penalty from the place where the offside took place. Offside because the man following up was in that 10-metre area and did not attempt to retire. There's the Springbok front row. Hempie Zatoy, Chris Rogers, Okkie Oosthuizen. Powerful front row, having the better of their opposition at the moment. Midway between the Springbok 22 and the halfway line. Butcher has it to Hill. Picked up to Avril Williams. Serfontein. And Serfontein, a lovely rolling kick. Bounced inside the field of play and puts the Springboks back onto the attack. And we've had 38 minutes of the second half. And leaving the field is Paul Rendell. John Hall it is. John Hall, the England blindside flank forward, number 6. That's Gary Rees warming up. And lifting in the line out, the referee says. Penalty to England. Always given 15 metres in from touch. And Rudi Visagie thinking it's quite an amusing incident. Dusty hair. Avril Williams just doesn't manage to keep it in the field of play. A quick throw in to Hughes, and the referee lets it go. Nothing wrong with that. Quick throw in, provided it's taken from the right spot. And the referee must have decided that the man throwing in the ball had his feet inside the field of play. And coming onto the field is Gary Rees to replace John Hall on the flank. Gary Rees trying to get warmed up, standing next to Gerrie Sonnekes, who comes back into the lineup. Tap back there by Hall. And Hempie Zatoy it was, who got a foot to the ball. The referee says it was knocked forward, and they must scrum. Hempie Zatoy, Chris Rogers, Okkie Oosthuizen. Springboks have it, being held at the back. Serfontein to Tobias. Has he found touch? Yes, he has. A lovely touch by Errol Tobias, and 40 minutes comes up on the stopwatch. 40 minutes gone in this first half, and the Springboks leading 22 points to 3. They're leading by 3 goals and a try to a penalty goal by England. Tap back on the England side. Through comes Rogers. And the referee says it was knocked forward and he'll have a scrum from the position from where it was knocked. About 13 metres in from the grandstand touchline. Richard Hill for England. Scrum swings. Butcher will pick it up, I think. Yes, he does. Tackled. That's not a knock-on. Picked up by Errol Williams. Tobias has Gerber with him. And there's the dummy. Opening up the gap. Inside it goes. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe looking for support. And England it is who clean it up. Springboks will want it back from this loose scrum. But the referee says it will not emerge. And England were going forward at the time. So England to put the ball in. First half, we're in injury time. Springboks leading 22-3. The ball will have to go in the second time. The referee watching the scrum. He's around the other side of the scrum. And he wants them to scrum correctly, scrum straight and bind properly. Penalty to England because the front row did not listen to what the referee was saying.
Yes, it's interesting, Chick, that Oki Oosthuizen actually packs with a crooked back, which is against all coaching techniques, and quite often in the first test certainly it looked like he's pulling his man down, but in fact he's not really doing that.
Well, there's Dusty Hare's kick, and there is the referee's signal for half-time. So at half-time, South Africa are leading by 3 goals and 1 try to the penalty by England. Tobias's kick-off. He's tried the same thing as Dusty Hare, but there's Hare to drive the Springboks back. Lovely kick. Touch judge, Mr. Steve Stradom, and that's Dusty Hare playing in his 25th international. Referee insisting on that half-metre gap between the two lines. And very good work there by Rees. Rees, the substitute, well intercepted by Serfontein. Steve Brain at number 2 it was. There you have it. Half-time score. South Africa leading by 3 goals and a try to the penalty by England. Try scorers Stoffberg the first one, then 3 by Dani Gerber, all converted by Hughes, to the penalty by Dusty Hare. That's Richard Hill, Scott in the background. Taken well by Stoffberg. Serfontein back there to Karel du Plessis. Good kick. Tony Swift under it with the ball already out. Karel du Plessis.
397.
Steve
Interesting to see, Chick, that Chris Rogers, who ran off the field at half-time, is still off the field. He was bleeding profusely, and Gerrie Sonnekus at hooker.
So South Africa man short. John Scott took that ball. There is Horton missing out a man, and the man who dropped it was the 3-quarter Palmer, John Palmer. Springboks will want this ball, but the referee says going over the top there, preventing the ball from coming out, and a penalty to South Africa. 22-3 it is, and this is a very kickable position. What will they do? They haven't indicated yet that they're going for posts. Yes, Hughes says that he's going for the post, and once the kicker has indicated that he's going to kick for the posts, he may not then change his mind. So Johan Hughes, he's already kicked 3 goals, all of them conversions, and this is about 10 metres behind the 22 of England. Johan Hughes, and it's all the way. That's a penalty, the first penalty that South Africa have kicked, a penalty by Hughes, and that came after 2 minutes in the second half. South Africa leading 25 points to 3. As Rogers back on the field again, number 2, so South Africa at full strength. One wonders what he's had. He took a very nasty crack in the first half, came on with his head swathed in bandages, and off at half-time, but there he is back playing again. Tough as teak is Chris Rogers. Taken by Visagie, and a penalty there to South Africa for Butcher, I think, overrunning the ball and tackling the man without the ball. There he is, big Chris Butcher. All 6'5" of him, plays for the Harlequins in London. Jan Kunis. And this line-out will be about 8 meters inside the England half of the field. See those packed stands. Huge crowds, had such a lot to enjoy today. Tap back, taken by Visagie, Serfontein, Tobias, and Villette. Kunis on the line. Back inside, Carlo du Plessis. Springboks surging onto the attack. And there's a bit of how's your father. That's the first bit of rough stuff. Butcher and the Sonicus in there. In comes Rendell, the French referee, trying to stop the brawl. And Rogers saying, take it easy. Defan Serfontein, that great little chap, getting in there to say, come on chaps, this is a game of rugby. Stop it. The referee, who has a bit of a language problem, and he says, get back to the Springboks. He's going to give, I think, a penalty to England. The best way to stop a brawl is to give a penalty, let them settle down, and if you can't decide who to give it to, rather give it to the side who cannot score points. And there he has the two captains together, John Scott on the left, Tian Stoffberg on the right, and he seems to be getting through to them. 3 home languages, French, English and Afrikaans. And Monsieur René Urquet, I can assure you, I spoke to him in Port Elizabeth, he has virtually no English at all. And Richard Hill in the background does speak a bit of French, and the referee giving a penalty, which is, I would say, the crowd don't like it, but the correct decision in the circumstances. It wouldn't be fair to let either side have an opportunity to score 3 points, and the referee certainly couldn't be certain who started it. Mr. Stradom, the touch judge who can come into the situation, he didn't put up his flag horizontal with the ground, and so he obviously couldn't decide who first started the brawl. So let's hope things get back onto an even keel, and the score remains 25 points to South Africa, 3 to England, and we've had 5 minutes in the second half of this match. Tap back by Skalkberger, taken by Ockie Oosthuizen there. Good kick up by Defan Serfontein. Under it was Swift, but a difficult one indeed. Gary Pearce, number 3, trying to clean up. Serfontein, there he is, the smallest chap on the field. That's Rudy Visagie next to John Scott on the left. Rogers, deep one. Stoffberg tapping back, Visagie going round. Ockie Oosthuizen driving forward. He has Rob Lowe with him, Daryl Tobias, John Villette. Villette will look for support on the inside. Springboks will want to get back. Sonicus, good work by him to Avril Williams. But a knock forward, I think, their referee waiting for advantage. And yes, he sees there is advantage as Hill gets it. Good refereeing that. Avril Williams knocked it on. England got it back, and Richard Hill kicked the ball quite a long way. There he is, Richard Hill. Fine little player from Bath.
Well, one can't help feeling a bit sorry for Richard Hill because he hasn't had a lot of possession, and the Springboks using the tap to good effect, with Ockie Oosthuizen doing a lot of cleaning up work as the second man in the line-out, and they're getting a lot of possession that way.
Deep one, Stoffberg trying to tap it back, but England will get this, I think. Butcher gives to Hill, blindside to Horton, and a good rolling kick, but it won't find touch. On Kunis, will he run and open it up? No. Dusty Hare, waiting for it in his 22, plenty of time. Very experienced player. He's had a good game today, Dusty Hare. And that's a good touch indeed. Well done by Defan Serfontein. He knocked it back inside. And Dani Gerber gonna run with it. He has Tobias with him. Hugh Davis next to him. There's a little chip ahead in the gap. Winterbottom for England. Winterbottom running. He's got Hugh Davis inside. Hugh Davis inside, intercepted by Visagie. Visagie still with the ball. Big flash Visagie. Serfontein to Kunis. But the referee said there was a knock forward. But some fine rugby there. Fine passing. Dani Gerber in the act again. Good play by Peter Winterbottom. And it's going to be England to put the ball in. 10 metres outside the Springbok 22. England holding it. Butcher flips to Hill, well tackled. Winterbottom. The referee says he spotted a forward pass there. Springbok ball. That's the Springbok 10-metre line, just in from the grandstand touchline. Serfontein gets good channel to Boyle, held by Sonicus, pulled across. A good kick indeed, a lovely kick. Puts the Springboks right on the attack. About 12 metres from their opponent's line. There's Van Serfontein playing his 17th game for South Africa.
Well, I think, Chick, that's the difference in the game, that everything the Springboks have tried has been decisive, has come off, and England battling a little bit now at the moment. They're under pressure all the time. Every time they get possession, they're under pressure, and things certainly not going their way. And there's the Springbok captain, who must be very happy.
And South Africa going forward, but it's Steve Brain in his first international. He throws in there, as the Springboks got it. Yes, Serfontein, Tobias. Misses up Valette, Gerber. Gerber had Avril Williams, but he kicked it up there, and it's Avril Williams and Bailey going for that ball. And the referee said it was knocked forward, and they'll scrum over in the far side. Now, in the scrums, I think that England will be ruining their decision to drop Phil Blakewell, because it looks as though Paul Rendell's having a very hard time in the front row against Hempys du Toit. In fact, the whole England front row are battling. Let's watch carefully this next scrum. This ball is going to be... There's Oki Oosthuizen on this side, scrumming against Gary Pearce. It's on the other side that Paul Rendell seems to be having a great deal of difficulty against Hempys du Toit. Watch that lovely scrum. Will the Springboks shove? There's the shove, but England get it well. Horton. And Horton showing his experience there. Fly half from Bath. Chris Rogers playing his second test. Coming to number 4, taken by Stoffberg. That's Tobias with it, misses out a man, double switch, and Hughes it is on the England 22-metre line. Winterbottom first to the ball. Hill has it, or hasn't got it. He recovers well, did little Richard Hill there. Couldn't do much else but kick it out. There he is, also from Bath. Looks as though there's an injury to one of the England players.
I think, Chick, that could be John Palmer, who made the tackle when Johan Hughes came into the back line so fast. But this has really been the situation in the game. The England defence always under pressure because Hughes, Dani Gerber, Hughes showing his pace. When he comes into the back line, he comes in at such pace. And, of course, the ever-present threat of Dani Gerber. And, of course, early in the first half, the first time that we saw John Valette really get the chance to show his paces, he went through and he broke the line. And that gave him a tremendous amount of confidence. We see John Valette right now, whilst they are looking at this injured player. There he is, number 12. Giving instruction, advising the guys, full of confidence, and the Springbok backs, I'm sure, delighted at the amount of possession that their forwards are giving them. And the forwards have adapted extremely well. The lineouts last test match were very, very loose indeed, and all the tapping, they've cleaned up on that. Oki Oosthuizen having a great game, as is Gerrie Sonicus. There's Rudy Visagie, there's Gerrie Sonicus, and Sonicus always prominent when South Africa have opened up, and especially from the loose play. But John Palmer really not feeling too happy right now.
And that is the England team physiotherapist giving him attention, but it looks as though John Palmer says he's going to carry on, and he's fine. The Springboks leading by 25 points to 3, 12 minutes gone in the second half. And Scott Burger got it, but Scott it was. John Scott, number 4 for England, took the rebound, and the referee allowed advantage as Richard Hill kicked out. That's a good picture of Hill.
Rogers, a lovely jump by Skalkberger. Okiostesen to Serfontein. Tobias, there's the scissors. Donny Gerber got support in the form of Karel du Plessis. Kick into the middle by Karel du Plessis. Under to John Scott. Well tackled by Sonicus. Hempis de Toy. And Tobias finds Avril Williams. Softberg is there too. And Rogers. And Rob Lowe. There he is switching direction. That's lovely play. Hughes, Villette. And Tobias is going to score on his own. Tobias going for the corner. Errol will score here. He does. A lovely try by Errol Tobias. He had Avril Williams with him, but there was the dummy, the power, and look how delighted he is, Errol Tobias, with that try. His first try in a test match, and it certainly was lovely stuff. But it was continued pressure, that final change of direction by Rob Lowe, the good pass by Serfontein, and there was Tobias. Avril Williams as a decoy on the outside.
Well, now we see it. Rob Lowe in possession. All the forwards getting in the act. Switch there. Lovely switch. Now watch for Errol Tobias's handoff. Pass from John Villette, straightening the man up. John Palmer just can't hold him. The power of the fly half. Not often that you get an outside half with such incredible power. And Errol Tobias will be delighted with that magnificent score by South Africa. But certainly, Chick, you can't put up with that sort of pressure.
And here's Kiernes with an attempt to goal from the touchline. He couldn't get a more difficult kick from the side he doesn't prefer, and it's a great kick, and it touched the upright, but it's not over. So South Africa are leading by 3 goals and 2 tries and 1 penalty to a penalty goal. 29 points to South Africa, 3 to the others. Here's it again. There's a switch of direction. There's Serfontein, Villette, lovely pass, and see Tobias's dummy in between Palmer and Bailey staying next to the wing. The decoy Avril Williams and Errol Tobias going over, and delighted he will be. And back to play on again, and the Springboks with their tails up to such an extent they go straight on to the attack from the kickoff. This huge crowd certainly are enjoying some lovely rugby, and the Springboks now know that they virtually cannot lose this test match. A lead of 26 points and 14 minutes gone in the half. Serfontein into the forwards. Rob Lowe takes the scrum half position. Sonicus going in. Springboks have it. Back to Rob Lowe. Keeping it in the forwards. Rudy Visagie going through. Steve Brain trying to get through for England. Number 2, a good possession for England. That's Hill. Sonicus. But the referee says there was a little knock forward, so there was scrum. There you have the score. South Africa leading by 3 goals and 2 tries and 1 penalty to the penalty of England. England, see how they've been wheeled there. If they get possession, it'll be bad possession. From there put in Butcher, scragged as he gets it. Gary Rees, John Scott, but Serfontein grabs it. Tobias. There's a little chip, a good chip indeed. Villette has it. Villette to Tobias. Oh, if he could have held on to that. Tobias nearly grabbed onto that pass from Villette. It was above his head. It was on his fingers. He controlled it for a moment, and then it slipped out for that knock forward. But it'll be the scrum down on the 22-metre line, right in front of the England posts. Richard Hill will want to get his forward straight. He shouldn't waste too much time because his front row are getting a tough, torrid time there. Gives to Horton. Horton from inside his 22. That's a relieving kick, a good kick by John Horton. He's never lost his cool, has John Horton. Very experienced player. England 10-metre line. It looks as though we've got a hold up for injury here again.
Yes, Steve Brain it is, who's going to receive a bit of attention. But one can't help but think that England, with the little amount of possession they are getting now, will have to open it up. They'll have to try and use their backs. They didn't use their backs much in the first test. In fact, I think that John Horton only passed the ball 3 or 4 occasions, and certainly one must feel sorry for them because they're not getting good possession. But when they are in possession, we should look to them to be opening it up and giving their wings, who after all are quite pacey, a bit of a chance to run the ball. The big difference is that our wings, South Africa's wings, are getting the ball, and fellas like Chris Butcher, the number 8, are battling to get good possession for England.
And here's Rudy Versace tackling back. Awkward one for Serfontein. Through with it is Steve Brain in his first cap. He gives there to his Gary Pearce. And England will get this. Winterbottom, a lovely piece of work. Hill to Horton. And Horton, that mistake he always makes, coming back into the forwards. Inside to Chris Butcher. Butcher still with it. Good work by England. They'll get it. Beautiful work. That's Richard Hill. And the new man, Rees, came on as substitute for Hall. Only 5 metres to go for England. Butcher with it. He's battling his way through, and he gives it. He wants to find Winterbottom, but it's South Africa who have it. Sonicus in the middle. Back to Serfontein, and a relieving kick by Defon Serfontein gets the Springboks away from their goal line and away from trouble. Fine play by little David Serfontein, known as Defon, who was born in Krugersdorp, school in Vanderbijl Park, and university at Stellenbosch. And that's Chris Butcher there, with perhaps some bellows to mend. He's had a storming game for England, but he really has not had the support that he had in the first test. And now, of course, with John Hall, who played so well against the Western Province, off the field, replaced by Rees, Butcher is battling there with Peter Winterbottom, and he's battling behind a pack that is battling.
Well, here we see it again in slow motion. Now watch for John Villette. John Villette right in the thick of the things there, and tremendous to see a centre getting that loose ball back. And must say, one of the stars of today's game is John Villette, who steadied the back line up and had a tremendous game.
Well, Butcher all right again, and this line out midway between the halfway line and the Springbok 22, with Steve Brain from Coventry to throw the ball in. Deep one. Skalkberger taps to Rudy Versace. Great possession there. Up and under by Defon Serfontein. Under it is Tony Swift. Tackled at the same time. Hill doing good work in recovering, and that was Rogers who came through very quickly for the Springboks. Serfontein. South Africa leading 29 points to 3. Nearly 20 minutes gone in the second half. Serfontein. Straight out to touch, not much else he could do there. Springboks trying to open up the game, and England backs lining much deeper than they did earlier on. Fiddler going up for it, beaten for it. Referee waiting for advantage. Advantage it is. Tobias. There's the Gary Owen up and under. Under it is Mark Bailey, but taken by Villette. Springboks have it. Tobias changing direction to Gerber, and that's the first mistake Donny Gerber's made. Referee waits for advantage. Gary Rees it is who picks up. England will get it. Back it goes. Brain, and that's Hugh Davis. Davis looking inside for advantage, and off it goes to John Scott, the captain. England will want possession now. Will they get it? Richard Hill is waiting for it, and they're battling to pull it out. The referee waiting for advantage, and Johnny Fiddler is trying to get it out. The big policeman from Gloucester, and the Springboks impeding the ball from coming out. A penalty must go to England. Yes, a penalty to England for the Springboks not allowing the ball to be heeled back from that ruck. And here is a chance for Dusty Hare to reduce the deficit. Is Dusty Hare saying he doesn't want it? He says no, and it is going to be Richard Hill. They're going to try a tap penalty. That's Steve Brain standing next to him. Will it be to Steve Brain or a dummy? Dummy it is, and Winterbottom has it. On the 22, England will want it back. They get it. Hill to Horton on the blind side. Little kick for Tony Swift, but Sonicus is there. Beautiful play by Gerry Sonicus, and a pretty good kick under pressure. Good covering. There he is, Gerry Sonicus, the man who got his first cap 10 years ago as a scrum half, and today playing a fine storming game at number 8 forward. John Scott at number 2, Fiddler at number 4, Butcher at the back. Can England win this line out? Chris Butcher gets it beautifully. Gary Rees has it. Winterbottom. Lovely driving play. Fiddler. John Fiddler tackled by Tobias. They have it, and it is scrum half Hill. His kick half charged down. Doesn't go forward. Hugh Davis trying to get it. A kick by Hempys de Toy goes straight into the face of Tian Stofberg, and the referee will have a set scrum.
Well, I think the referee obviously saw that ball, and that ball is hard, and Hempy's du Toit has an oak tree-like leg, and certainly hit Tian Stoffberg full in the face.
I think perhaps his nose, but he's taking the chance of getting a little whiff of that nectar. A little sip of water that tastes like nectar at a stage like this. Midway between the Springbok 22 and the halfway line. And Serfontein, Dusty Hare is up under it. There's the up and under. Back for it is Carl du Plessis. Very well taken by du Plessis. Good thinking. Hyunis was in a better position to get his touch, and he's made no mistake. That shows great confidence with Carl du Plessis taking it. Hyunis saying thank you. You can see him saying thanks, Carl. Hyunis has had a good game, hasn't put a foot wrong. John Scott, fiddler behind him. Paul Rendell between the two of them. Looks as though the Springboks are going to get this one again. Driving forward, Hempy's du Toit. Serfontein, well tackled, nearly got his pass away, but England are going to get this ball. Hill, running on the open side. Lovely break by Richard Hill, but there's no one with him. No one with him at all. As he's tackled, Sonicus is there. Good piece of work, flicking it to Villette. And once again, the very good covering work of Gerry Sonicus. But Richard Hill, a wonderful break past the open side, but not a man with him. So it's going to be a scrum just inside the Springbok 22-metre line, but it looks as though Hugh Davis is going to need a bit just to the left of your picture, Hugh Davis, and he is getting some attention.
Yes, and the replacement Gary Rees, there he is getting a bit of an ice pack on the nose, and one felt a bit sorry for Richard Hill. A tremendous scrum half break. He looked up just before he got possession and went straight through the middle, but once again we see Gerry Sonicus popping up at the right place at the right moment.
Springbok scrum, and now watch these front rows. See if Springboks will get a shove on. It's being wheeled. Holding it, being held there. Serfontein waiting for it to come out as he wants it. And it comes out the opposite side. Richard Hill, who picked it up. And I suppose some people might call that a tight head, but the Springboks clearly healed it. And then with the wheeling, they lost possession. And the referee wants a set scrum. That's the Springbok 22. Errol Tobias. And not a bad kick, but the Springboks seem to have gone quiet for a moment. England playing very well, putting on the pressure. There's Tobias, Villette behind him. Rob Lowe. And here is a two-man line-out. Butcher in the front for England, and the skipper John Scott at the back. Skalkberger goes for it, taken at the back by Stoffberg. Stoffberg laying it back, but there were three Springboks and only two Englishmen there, so a penalty to England. That's definitely for that. He points at Stoffberg, saying there were three Springboks in the line-out, and the side throwing in can decide how many players there'll be. They decided there'd be two. There would be Scott and there would be Butcher, and there should have been only two Springboks, and in fact there were three. There was Versaghi, there was Skalkberger and Tian Stoffberg, and here is a chance for Dusty Hare. 29 points to 3 the score. We've had 27 minutes nearly in the second half, and can it be 3 more points for England? Looks a lovely kick by Hare. Yes, a beauty all the way. Lovely kick by Dusty Hare. Makes it 29 points to 6, and left for play about 13 minutes. So 2 penalties for England, and they're the score for South Africa. 3 goals and 2 tries. The tries scored by Stoffberg and by Tobias, and 3 by Donnie Gerber, together with a penalty and 3 conversions by Johan Hyunis. Tobias, difficult kick. They're going to let it go over the line. Now they have 3 options. They could have a kick again, they could have a line out on the halfway line, or they could have a scrum on the centre spot, and they decide they want the scrum. Steve Brain in his first test has hooked very well indeed, hasn't conceded a tight head that we've noticed. Hill to Horton. There's the up and under, being chased on the left by Mark Bailey. Under it is Hyunis, a lovely kick. Hyunis takes it very well under great pressure. The Springboks will want it back. They had possession. They will not want to lose it. They're mauling for it now. Rob Lowe to Serfontein, and a long kick by Serfontein. A beauty, lands in the field of play and scuds out on the other side. And Stefan Serfontein really having a super game.
Yes, I think one of the features of the game, Chick, has been the long raking kicks by this little scrum half, and certainly taken a lot of pressure off Errol Tobias and put a lot of pressure onto Dusty here. And always driving the Springboks. It's wonderful for a forward to take his head out of a scrum or a loose ruck and go forward, and that's one tremendous bit of encouragement for the Springbok forwards.
And there's Steve Brain, and good tap back by England. Horton takes an awkward one from Hill, and under a lot of pressure from Rogers and Sonicus and Rob Lowe, he managed to get it out, not as he would like. He hasn't gained much ground. In fact, he's still in his own 22-metre area. But watch this French referee. His positional play is superb. He's unobtrusive. He's always there. Stoffberg tapping back. Visagie barging through. Oki Oosthuizen. This is lovely driving play. And cleaning up there is Villette, looking to find his support. Karel du Plessis was there. Skalkberger. Springboks get it back. Tobias. Rob Lowe in the line. Rob Lowe looking for a gap and tries a long pass to Avril Williams, but I think it was forward. Forward pass. The referee, you notice once again, right on the spot. Avril Williams hasn't had many chances today. England ball inside their own 22-metre line. Steve Brain has it again. Butcher controlling it. Hill to Horton. And Horton, a good touch. Mark Bailey behind Horton. And England, you see, still lining flat. That's a 22-metre line. See how they're almost parallel with that 22-metre line, whereas the Springboks are lining real deep. And America's in real deep, really deep. There they are. And who's going to get it this time? Tap back by England. Well played by Butcher. England will get it. Gary Rees, number 21, substituting for John Hall, going in to get it. Hill to Winterbottom. Winterbottom tackled by Sonicus. Hempy's the toy, number 3, going in. Hill will get it again. Blind side. Out there to Rees. Rees looking for support. Not finding it. Springboks rucking in there, trying to get it back. But England will get it, I think. Fiddler doing good work. Referee says the ball will not emerge. It's a pile-up. And they'll scrum down. Now the side to put it in will be the side who did not stop play, alternatively the side who are going forward, and that was England. Hill just inside his own half, near the far touch. Good scrum shove there, but Hill going on the blind side. Little rolling kick. That's the halfway line. There he is. He's a real jack in the box. On the field or off, he never keeps still, Richard Hill. And England in the Springbok half, but it's Chris Rogers to throw in. Left for play less than 10 minutes. Butcher going through very quickly, but the referee spotted an infringement, pulling the ball, pulling down in the line-out, preventing the other side from jumping, so a penalty to the Springboks. Will they try a tap penalty? They're so full of confidence, but no, Serfontein himself is going to kick in order to save time, and not a bad kick by the scrum half.
Well, one can't really blame South Africa for taking that long, taking the touch as against a short tap kick, because the England defence had time to spread eagle themselves. The loose forwards were lined up behind their back line, and a good decision by Theuns Stoffberg to gain ground and just tighten it up, keep things going forward.
And now they're on the attack, just inside the England 22, and they're going to get this line at Oki Oosthuizen, cleaning up well for South Africa. Serfontein, Tobias, he's got his whole line there. Misses out Amanda Gerber, misses out Amanda Karel du Plessis. Hyunis going back inside, looking for support on the 22-metre line. He still has it, as Hyunis. Rob Lowe with it into Visagie, and they'll get it back. Sonicus it was, but a little knock forward there. The referee spotted it. Good work by Rob Lowe and by Sonicus, but it'll be a scrum down with England to put the ball in.
Good work too from Rudi Visagie, Chick, who's had a storming game in the loose.
Yes, all the Springbok forwards have pretty well, but Visagie certainly will be happy with his showing. And Richard Hill getting the ball under tremendous pressure from Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe and Chris Rogers certainly have not made life easy for this pair of halfbacks from Bath. There you have it, midway between the England 22 and the halfway line. And left for play about 7 minutes. Lovely work by Visagie again. Tobias, here's the drop goal attempt. It looks a good one. Is it there? Wait for it. No, the referee well positioned, but that ball went just to the right of the right-hand upright. And the score remains 29 points to South Africa, 6 to England. 29-6. South Africa leading 3 goals, 1 penalty and 2 tries to 2 penalties by England. Horton. Under it is Visagie again, but Gary Rees comes in quickly. I think it was a knock forward perhaps by Rees. It's Rob Lowe, number 6, going in. And it was a knock forward by the Springboks, so Richard Hill to put in. 10 metres outside his own 22. England have it. Held by Butcher. Advantage as Butcher drives. Gary Rees with it. Rees, England still very good when they're loose. Out it goes there to Richard Hill. That's Hugh Davis. And the referee says he wants to go right back. He's now decided there was no advantage when Die van Serfontein was offside, and he waited a long time for the advantage to develop. But when it didn't develop, he's given a penalty. And no player minds how long a referee waits for advantage, provided he's firm and on the spot, as this Frenchman is, Mr. René Urquet. Lovely kick by Hare, and England onto the attack.
Certainly great credit to Mr. Urquet for keeping the game under control. He had a tremendous game in the first test, and certainly his positional play. I think the one advantage he has, Chick, is that he's very quick around the field.
Well, there he is at the back of the line out now, as England are pressing in the Springbok 22, and a beautiful take there by Butcher at the back, helped by Fiddler. Back it comes, and the referee says there was a little knock forward, and he will give a set scrum about 7 metres in from the far touchline. Springboks to put it in, and they will want to get away from this area, back onto the attack. Solid scrum. And it looks like a heel against the head. Yes, against the head for England. A great time to get a heel against the head, but Butcher, trying to pick it up, made a bit of a mess of it, and so they will scrum down again, and perhaps a Springbok put in. About 5 minutes left for play as Serfontein has it, and a pretty good kick by Die van Serfontein. Did exactly what he wanted to do. He got play away from his own try line, and this next line out will be about 6 metres outside the Springbok 22-metre area. Short line out. Scott and Butcher against Burger and Visagie. Stoffberg there as the scrum half. Tap to Hill. Horton gives it out there, and that is Hugh Davis. Didn't take it. Palmer unable to pick it up, and Serfontein. He's got Gerber with him. Gerber back inside, intercepted by Winterbottom. Winterbottom pushed out to touch by Carl du Plessis and Rob Lowe. And a little bit of petulance there, but the referee right on the spot to quieten things down. And he did it so well. Such grace, savoir-faire, shall we say, by Monsieur Urquet. Line out on the halfway line. South Africa leading 29 points to 6. And about 4 minutes left for play. Rees tackled heavily by Visagie. Springboks will want to get it back, but they're not going to get it. Hill gets it to Horton on the blind side. There's the jink. That's tackled by Serfontein. Picked up by England. And that is Gary Pearce, the tight head front row forward. But there was an infringement, and the referee wants a set scrum. There you see 3 minutes to go of ordinary time. That's the score.
South Africa's 3 goals and 2 tries and 1 penalty. So South Africa have crossed their opponent's try line 5 times without reply.
Well, that's Peter Winterbottom, and he's certainly had a storming game today. Always in the thick of things, had a lot of defending to do. Quite often has to contend with the 3 Springbok loose forwards, Rob Lowe, Tiaan Stoffberg and Gerrie Sonnekus. And one of the situations I think that's developing now is England are trying to use their backline, but certainly looking at 6s and 7s. One cannot help but think that in the 5 Nations Championships, talking to Nigel Starmer-Smith, the BBC man, who's saying that Dusty here, they rely on him so much to kick goals and use the hard grinding forward game, and one's certainly not seen much flair from their backs today.
Serfontein, 8 meters inside his opponent's half, but not in straight, and a free kick. Not a penalty, a free kick, and here's going to be the tap one again. Hill to Horton. Horton making that mistake of going back inside again, running into Serfontein and Stoffberg. Will England get it back? Butcher doing fine work there. On the halfway line, there's a ruck, and Hill gets it. Tackled again by Serfontein. Swift it is, Tony Swift, picked up by Hill again. And once again, it is Hill who's tackled, this time by Karel du Plessis. There he is, Richard Hill, a very nuggety, strong little chap from the club of Bath.
7.
Rogers 12 meters inside the Springbok half of the field. Deep one, and Skalkberger taps it well to Oki Oosthuizen. See if Serfontein says I want it, and the Springbok forward says, what do they say? Here it is, but no, the referee says a penalty. England preventing the ball from coming out of that ruck, and a penalty to the Springboks.
Well, that's good refereeing, because, well, the referee changing his mind there and indicating that the Springboks were stamping on the England players, but the referee had originally given the penalty for that England forward preventing the ball coming out, and then seeing the Springbok forwards using the boots, changed his mind.
That is the only time a referee can change his mind under Law 26, which is for foul play or misconduct. If there is any misconduct after the ball is dead, he may then change the penalty, as he did then. So it's a penalty to Dusty Hare, and one he won't be short. He'll expect to get this. Looks a pretty good kick, and it's all the way. Yes, a lovely kick. That's his 3rd penalty. 29 points to 6, and left from play only about 1 minute in this match. So it is 29 to the Springboks and 9 to England. 29 points to 9. 3 penalties to Dusty Hare. For South Africa, who had tries by Stoffberg, then 3 tries by Gerber, all converted by Guinness, then a penalty by Guinness and a try by Tobias. As play on again, Springboks being defeated for the ball again. Gary Rees, number 21 with it, came on for John Hall. He's tackled, and will England get it again? They've been doing better in the loose. Villette it was who picked that ball up. Rob Lowe to Oki Oosthuizen, and back it comes. Serfontein changing direction, and Villette taking it very well, giving to Guinness. Guinness kicking ahead there into the box. Peter Winterbottom getting it, and the referee didn't see what could possibly otherwise have been a late tackle, but looks as though it could be Guinness who might require a bit of attention.
Well, we'll see if we can see that again, but Guinness definitely interfered with it. Looks like he's holding his throat. We'll see that again, the ball coming out on the short side, the ball bobbing around, a little bit of loose play by South Africa. Beautifully taken by John Villette. Now there's Guinness, now watch him with the kick. He kicks now, and, well, perhaps in fairness there to Gary Rees, he was right.
Play on again with Stoffberg. He gives to Skalkberger. This could be dangerous. Sonnekus is going to score, I think. Sonnekus going for the line, and he scores. Gerrie Sonnekus has scored a try, and there it was. The ball held high. His momentum took him over, and he clearly placed the ball over the line. So that's another try for the Springboks, their 6th try, and Gerrie Sonnekus, and how well he deserves it. He's had such a good game. He had a good game in Port Elizabeth. He's been supporting well, he's been defending well, covering, and there he was at the right place and the right time. But fine work also by Skalkberger, who's had a good game, and that is the 6th try.
Well, this is just reward for Gerrie Sonnekus. What a triumphant return to Test rugby after 10 years. Barging his way over, just getting his hands with the jersey over his head. But 10 long years it's taken him, and he must be terribly pleased to have got a Test match try at last.
And the man to take the conversion kick is going to be Errol Tobias. The score at the moment is 33 points to 9. On the stopwatch, we have had the 40 minutes, so this could be the last kick of the match. And we'll see whether Errol Tobias can convert this. He's taken it very far back. He's a very reliable kicker. He kicked so well for the South African Barbars when they were in the UK. And here he is. Could this be his first points in a test match? He looks a good one, and it's all the way. Converted by Errol Tobias. And that means that the score is 35 points to 9. There's Errol Tobias in the middle, and there has the final whistle gone for the end of the game. And so South Africa have won by 4 goals, 1 penalty and 2 tries for their 35 points to the 3 penalty goals by England, all kicked by Dusty Hare. For South Africa, the tries have been scored firstly by Stoffberg, then we had 3 tries by Dani Gerber, all converted by Hunes. At half-time the score was 22-3 with 1 penalty by Hare. In the second half, a penalty by Hunes, then a try by Tobias made it 29-3. 2 penalties by Dusty Hare took it to 29-9, and finally that try by Sonnekes, converted by Errol Tobias. 35 points to South Africa, 9 to England. A fine game. Hugh Bladen, I think this big crowd has got no cause for complaint. They've seen beautiful rugby football.
Yes, lovely rugby, lovely open rugby. 3 tries for Dani Gerber. The Springboks, I think, dominant in every department of the game. Abundant possession for the back line, and certainly they used it extremely well. Once again, the loose forwards doing great support work. Both locks prominent in the loose phases, both locks handling well, and Devon Serfontein, the halfbacks, doing a tremendous amount of work. Super win for South Africa.
Well, a lovely game, and 6 tries they've seen. So the final score, South Africa 35, England 9, as we say good night from Ellis Park and go back to the studio. And Horton from inside his own 22, and scrum half Richard Hill always in the thick of things. That's John Horton there. He's playing in about his 14th game for England. Halfway line, just to the left of that line out, and Stoffberg it is, barging forward. Good work by Tony Swift, and picked up there by Winterbottom, the inevitable Winterbottom, always in the thick of things. Good work by England, fine driving play there. Very good work by the forwards and by Tony Swift, the right wing from Swansea. That's Winterbottom. Scrum midway between the Springbok 22 and the halfway line. Serfontein. Dani Gerber. And a good touch by Dani Gerber. Takes play to near the 25. That's John Scott. Steve Brain to throw in just inside the Springbok half of the field. Winterbottom with it. Rob Lowe wresting it from him, but the referee says it was not in straight. And the non-offending side decides they would like a scrum. Serfontein, scrum swinging, and that's an awkward kick. Dusty Hare inside his 22, have to hurry as he's challenged by Avril Williams, and a good kick under pressure indeed by that very experienced player.
Well, a very good kick by Dusty Hare. He came in for some criticism in that he didn't touch Dani Gerber when Dani Gerber scored his try, and certainly whatever he's done this afternoon has been has all the hallmarks of an experience.
Chris Rogers to throw in, just inside the Springbok half, tap back to Serfontein, Tobias, and there's the up and under. It's a little too far ahead. Dusty Hare will have plenty of time, but he's outside his 22 and directly into touch, so back they'll come for a line out opposite the place from where Dusty Hare kicked.
Springboks on the attack, just outside the England 22-metre area. And they tried the maul round the back there. Oosthuizen going down on it. Tobias making the blind side. Karel du Plessis, he's got Swift to beat. And a desperate tackle by Swift. Inside, that's Rob Lowe. Stoffberg could score. Tien Stoffberg is over. Stoffberg, a lovely effort by Tien Stoffberg, started by Errol Tobias, giving it to Karel du Plessis, and back inside, and there was the tremendous power of Tien Stoffberg. There he is in the middle of the picture, and Stoffberg bursting over for a try.
Well, just watch this incredible strength, and then inside to Gerrie Sonnekus, always in the right position at the right time, and then just the power of this enormous flank forward and the South African captain. Great try, but tremendous work first by Karel du Plessis, who must be very close to being rated the best wing in the world, and Gerrie Sonnekus, so important with his support play, and just the momentary touch in his hands which kept the movement going, and a great try by Tien Stoffberg.
And Karel du Plessis, with his power, I think he felt that he could run through Tony Swift, and he really went almost through him. Swift did get him eventually, but not before Karel du Plessis had plenty of time to get his pass into Gerrie Sonnekus, who was backing up so very well there. Now, can Theunis make it 6? No, the score 4-0, a try by Stoffberg after about 6 minutes in the first half. There you have it. South Africa 4, England no score, and it certainly is a tremendous advantage to get the... And what a sight. There the teams are. The only new cap in this team is Steve Brain, number 2, who's the hooker from Coventry, and the big change, of course, Rendell at number 1, the loose head, and Pearce at number 3. Can England afford to do without Phil Blakewell, the strong man who many thought would be changed over to the loose head with Pearce going on the tight? And the other change, Swift in at number 14 on the Springboks exactly the same as before, and that's a great vote of confidence. They'll be determined not to do what they did against the Argentinians 2 years ago when they won the first test handsomely, only to be defeated 21-12 in the second. Well, I saw them this morning. They're tense, they're not too overconfident, and looking forward, I'm sure, to a tremendous game this afternoon. And the referee, Mr. Urke, says to the Springboks, are you ready? England to kick off. And there is the whistle. Dusty Hare, his usual long kick, and taken there by Donny Gerber, who is in his usual number 13, although he's number 12 on the program. One thought that Donny Gerber would certainly choose to have number 13. He's always seemed to prefer that number. Errol Tobias, first drop out of the game. It's a lovely hanging ball. John Scott there in the van, but Karel du Plessis into the hands of Dusty Hare, and he'll have to hurry. That is Rob Lowe. Theunis in his 22, and a lovely kick, but has he got touch? Winterbottom nearly got in the way of Dusty Hare there. Dusty Hare challenged by Rob Lowe, and we're going to have the first line out of the match. Tap back, and Richard Hill under pressure. Chris Rogers trying to charge down his kick there. That's Rudy Versace. Springboks on the attack. Gary Pearce playing first test match in South Africa for him. Chris Butcher with the ball in his hands, and well done Skalkberger for South Africa, holding it. Butcher trying to wrest it from him, and the England pack going forward. Will the ball come back? And the referee says that the England side were going forward, the ball would not emerge, and it'll be the England put in.
Well, that was a very good drive by the England forward stick, and I think one of the things that is very apparent is that they are determined to give a better showing than in the first test, and certainly look very motivated.
And the first scrum of the game, and Mr. Urke is going to be certain that the scrumming is correct. The law says they must bind firmly and continuously. Now we've got Hempy's de Toy against Paul Rendell on this side, and a penalty to England.
Well, the referee clearly indicating that Oki Oosthuizen was pulling Gary Pearce down.
So Dusty Hare, just outside his own 22. It looks a pretty good kick. But Hurnes manages to keep in the field of play and catch the ball, although the ball might have been over the line. The law says if you have your feet inside the field of play and catch it, it's still fine. So this will be the first time that Steve Brain, the hooker from Coventry, will be throwing the ball in an international match. There's John Fiddler, Scott Burger next to him, Sonicus behind. Taken by Winterbottom. That is John Horton. There's a good up and under. Who is under it? Serfontein with it now. And a pretty good kick under pressure. Will it find touch? Carl du Plessis following up. But with it is Tony Swift. And a pretty good rolling kick by Swift. That early score.
And now we see it again. Now watch how he straightens Swift just momentarily. Swift couldn't go for him straight away. The tremendous power. And look at Sonicus. Just a lovely little catch. Held it for a second, and then three men, or two men certainly, couldn't stop the big Springbok captain.
And that was certainly his momentum carrying him over the line. And now live play on again. Under it is Gerber from the up and under. Oki Oosthuizen in there. Stefberg helping. Sonicus always, but Butcher with it for England. And a tackle there by Rudi Versace. And a penalty against South Africa for a high tackle. The referee indicating immediately a high tackle on Butcher by, I think, combined Rudi Versace and Rob Lowe. The man who seems to be injured there is Avril Williams.
Well, we'll see that again, and now watch. I think it's Rudi Versace who it was going in very heavily. No, it's yes, Rudi Versace.
So Dusty Hare can reduce the deficit. 4-0 the Springboks lead. Can it be 4-3? It looks a good kick. It's got all the distance, all the legs, all the way, and it's 4 points to 3. So England very quickly reduced that deficit of 4-0 and 4-3 with that penalty by Dusty Hare. Dusty Hare, who's playing in his 25th international match for England. Errol Tobias to kick off for the Springboks. High hanging kick. John Scott taking it, helped by Brain. Butcher trying to get it out. Back to scrum half